And if you were just joining us here, the story of this entire postseason has been all the injury. Last night, Game 4 in Atlanta, already without Trae Young for the Hawks. And then here's the moment in the third quarter in which Giannis Antetokounmpo goes down holding that left knee. And there are a lot of questions as to when he will get up again. We'll give you one more quick look at it there. You see the knee hyperextending. Just another terrible moment in this NBA postseason as Giannis was helped off. We'll hear from Malika in a moment. The game was all Atlanta from there on. That was Bogdanovich with a three. He had 20. The lead was 20. Clint Capella is going to make shots like this. I don't know what we're going to do. Unbelievable. But the Hawks even up the series. But the big story is the injury. Malika Andrews has the latest.
Giannis Antetokounmpo is scheduled to undergo further imaging on his hyperextended left knee on Wednesday, and that will help determine his status for Game 5 and beyond. Now, immediately after the game, Mike Budenholzer said that Giannis was in good spirits. He was being positive and encouraging with his teammates, but in the moment when he went down, it was a little bit scary. From 25 rows up, I could hear him audibly yelping in pain. And Chris Middleton said after the game that he was hopeful that Giannis would be able to play in Game 5, but he said even if he can't, he believes that this is a team that is, quote, capable of going out there and winning.
All right, so a ton to unpack here, and this show just got a whole lot handsomer as we bring Kendrick Perkins and Jalen Rose into the conversation here to unpack it all. Let's just start with you, Jalen. I mean, I always say, you're not doctors, but athletes know injuries better than anybody. When you see that knee of Giannis, they said they're going to get more testing done today. What is your expectation about the chances that he comes back at any point in this postseason?
I felt like Malika feels. It's almost like when you can hear somebody scream from 25 feet away. A man that large, 7 foot tall, is extremely athletic, landing all of his weight on one portion of his body that just so happens to be his knee. That's extremely scary. There's a reason why he limped off. There's a reason why his brother was there to console him. Because while we hope for the best, usually, unfortunately, circumstances like that end up being the worst, which means at least missing some time. I hope it doesn't require him to miss the rest of the postseason, however.
Okay, so then Big Perk, if indeed he misses some time, give me how they do it. You've been talking a lot about Chris Middleton being the Batman on that team and all the rest of it. Can the Bucks win this series without him? Big Perk.
Yeah, yes, they can, Greeny, and they have the backcourt to do it. When you look at Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, both of those guys are capable of having big nights. We have witnessed it on plenty of occasions. Hell, we just witnessed it in Game 3 when Chris Middleton went off in the fourth quarter. It's just about him being consistent, his mindset. But when you look at the others that are around the Bucks, Lopez, let's not forget, this is a guy that you could go to on the low block. They just don't because Giannis is utilized so much in the paint. But I would think that Mike Budenholzer will go to Lopez a little bit more down low, get him some more touches, rely on Bobby Portis as well to make up that offensive, to make up some of the offense if Giannis is out. So I'm looking at this Milwaukee Bucks team. They still have a hell of a squad to get past this Atlanta Hawks team.
Jalen, you look skeptical. What do you think?
I disagree with my big fella. And here's why, Greeny, because without Giannis, if the Hawks get Trae Young back, they just waxed the Bucks last night, and Giannis had 0 points in the first quarter before he got injured. Like last night, we can't ignore what just happened. Bogdanovich, Lou Will, they played well. Cam Reddish got his confidence going, was terrific defensively. Capella was making shots like Larry Bird over the backboard. Now, all of a sudden, this young Atlanta Hawks team ties this series 2-2, and they may get Trae Young back, who's been putting on the show this postseason. If Giannis is going to miss 2 or 3 games, I disagree with the big fella. I will go with the Hawks at that point.
Go ahead, Perk.
Well, J. Rose, let me tell you why I feel sorry for your loss, okay? Because this is not the bubble. All right, so now you have home court. Now fans are back in the arena. And guess what? Guess who played well at home in front of fans? The role players. That's why you saw Capella hitting Larry Bird shots. He was at home. The fans rallied behind him. Bogdanovich got going. The Hawks had the energy of the fans helped elevate the role players. And you know this from playing J. Rose. When you at home, role players step up. Milwaukee has the home court advantage. So even if it does go to 7 games, it's going to be rocking in Milwaukee. We've seen the atmosphere outside the building, let alone inside the arena. This is why I'm giving the Bucks the slight edge, is because of the home court advantage. Greeny, J. Rose, last thing. How many times have we witnessed in post-game interviews where guys that came out and they done said, hey, fans, we owe this one to the fans. They pulled us through tonight. Fans help you win games.
So are we discounting the bubble now? Is that what I just heard? Are we discounting whatever we saw in the bubble last year?
No, we're not discounting the J. Rose, but what I'm saying is it's a different circumstances now. Like, what I'm saying is now you actually have fans and role players are going to elevate their games at home. They feed off the energy of the crowd.
Let me ask you a bigger picture question, Jalen. And we got word recently that Kawhi is officially out for tonight's Game 6 in the West. Of course, you guys will have the coverage of that tonight. Phoenix looking to win the series in Los Angeles. But, Jalen, it is now becoming impossible to overlook all of the injuries here. We've had 9 All-Stars that have missed games in this postseason. That's already the most in any playoffs ever. It doesn't include Trae Young because he wasn't an All-Star. And if Giannis does miss a game, it'll be 10. There are people who are suggesting the schedule has something to do with that. What do you think?
All injuries aren't created equal. Here's what I'll say to fans and media. We should be excited that we just got 2 NBA seasons in the books. Perk just alluded to a season that the NBA completed that was in a bubble. They actually got to a champion. That was the Lakers. This year, a compressed 72-game schedule. It was great for us to even have NBA basketball and some new faces in the Final Four, like Devin Booker. Can Chris Paul make it to the finals? Initially, could Giannis make it to the finals? A lot of those injuries weren't because of they were fatigued per se. That injury right there with Kyrie is an example of it. Same with Trae Young. How about this for Big Perk? I remember there was a year where I felt like the Boston Celtics were going to win it all. And then KG got hurt. How about the time my Pistons lost to the Lakers? Isaiah was out there hobbling on one ankle. And then the next year we beat them because Magic and Byron Scott got hurt. If you look deeper into the box score of every NBA championship, for the most part, there's going to be some injury along the way to derail one circumstance. It's just unfortunately that so many injuries are marring this year's playoffs.
Because of the magnitude of the players that are involved. Big Perk, I'd like to hear your take on it as well, because you know what the narrative is out there amongst a lot of the fans.
Yeah, and I agree with Jalen 100%, but here's the thing, right? I feel the players as well. You see a lot of players lashing out, and because they had a shortened season, right? Think about this. The NBA really put the players in position not to succeed, but to fail. We all know you have to get accustomed to the workload. And we think about how they hurry up and rush the season at the beginning of the season because why? They wanted the Christmas Day games. Why? Because it's one of the days that bring in the most revenue, the most money outside of the playoffs. And then all of a sudden, they throw a wrench into the middle of the season when they promised the players that it wouldn't be an all-star weekend. All of a sudden, it is an all-star weekend. Why? To get more money, right? And then now you're seeing so many guys getting hurt, and they're all-stars, guys that have to play a lot of minutes. So when I'm looking at what's going on right now on the player side of things and watching these all-star guys that have to play a lot of minutes, a lot of workload on their legs, I'm looking at it, and in some form and fashion, I kind of have to blame the NBA for not putting these guys in position for their health.
Go ahead, Jalen.
I understand where Perk is going with that, Greeny, but big fella, this is a partnership. And in order for those 2 seasons to get completed, each side had to agree to the terms in order for us to have NBA basketball to entertain the fans, but also for all of us to collect the checks that we want to go out there and get. So that's a partnership. I agree with you. But a lot of those injuries, again, Kawhi Leonard has been load managing for the last couple of years. Anthony Davis has dealt with injuries in his past. Kyrie Irving's injury was a freak injury. So was Giannis. And so you can go on and on and on about different players. James Harden started the season out of shape. Did that play a factor in his hamstring injury? I know you want to just only put it on the league, and I understand where you're going. But at the same time, I feel like the players really wanted to have 2 seasons. One was completed in the bubble. One was a 72-game season. We'll start the playoffs to see if we can get to a champion.
Both of these can be true. Guys, I have to leave it there for the moment, but this conversation obviously is one that's taking place everywhere.